Preface. Setting the scene. You have another daughter. The midwife held the squalling infant up as Anne collapsed back on her pallet, exhausted after hours of labor. Anne's heart sank at the news. She turned her face to the wall, not watching as the midwife cut the cord, washed the baby, and rubbed salt over the quivering little body to prevent infection. Your daughter, the older woman said. Anne took the tiny wizened infant tenderly in her arms and wept, knowing her husband would be bitterly disappointed. He had been fasting and praying for a son. Kissing the baby, Anne held her up to the midwife. Give the child to her father so that he may bless her. As the woman left the house, Anne shifted on the pallet, wincing at the pain. She strained to hear what her husband had to say, but it was the excited voice of their older daughter, Mary, she heard. Can I hold her, Father? Please? Oh, she is so sweet. Joachim spoke too softly for Anne to hear. When he entered the house, she searched his face. Though he did not look at her with reproach, she saw his disappointment. Leaning down, he placed their newborn firmly in her arms once again. What could he say to ease both their hearts? God had not seen fit to give them a son. I love her, Mary said, coming into the house. We all love her, Joachim said quickly. Ah, but Anne understood. A son would work alongside his father. A son would go to synagogue and give distinction to his father. A son would provide for his mother if his father died. A son might one day grow up and stand against Israel's oppressors, or even turn out to be the long-awaited deliverer, the Messiah for whom all Israel prayed. But a girl? What use was a girl other than to share in the daily chores? She would simply be another mouth to feed until the time came for her father to find her a proper husband. I've been considering the name Deborah, Anne said quietly, head down. This baby was more delicate than her first, but there was a sweetness in her face that gripped Anne's heart. We will call her Mary. But Mary is my name, their older daughter said, looking between them. Joachim put his hand on her head and spoke gently. Your sister shall be little Mary. Anne reached out to her older daughter. Don't be distressed, dear one. Go outside so that I may speak with your father. When she was alone with Joachim, she looked up at him. Won't you please consider another name, my husband? Deborah is a strong name, and there are so many Marys. It has become the most common name in all Israel. And when there are enough, perhaps the Lord will finally hear our cry. Joachim's voice broke. Color seeped into his cheeks as he looked away. Her name shall be Mary. He left the house. Anne overheard him tell their older daughter to play with her friends and leave Mama alone to rest. Anne studied her newborn's face. Mary, she whispered, my precious little Mary. Her heart was heavy, for both of her daughters now bore a name that meant bitterness and suffering. The name Mary declared the depth of every Jew's despair under the oppression of Roman conquerors. Mary was a cry to the Lord for rescue. Raising her knees slightly, Anne cradled her baby on her thighs. She unwrapped the cloth and stroked the small arms, studied the legs bowed from 9 months in the womb. Tears streamed down Anne's cheeks as she kissed the tiny hand that clasped her finger. Little Mary's skin was softer than a baby rabbit's. Lord, Lord, please let her name come to mean more than bitterness and suffering. Let it come to mean strength is from the Lord. Let it come to mean God's love upholds us. Let it mean trust in God and let nothing defeat faith in you. Lord, she wept softly as she lifted her baby to her breast. Let the name Mary remind us to obey without fear.